Hey everybody, welcome to EduMatch. Thank you so much for joining us. So follow along with us on Twitter with the hashtag EduMatch, as well as here on our YouTube live page. So our link is podcast with an s.edumatch.org/tweet talk. So speaking of EduMatch, if you want to be the featured person of the day, just check us out, edumatch.org. You'll see a sign up button on the top right hand side. Just go ahead, click on that. As your information, you will be featured, our featured person of the day. I can't tell you when, but I can tell you that you will be added to our awesome table of EduMatchers. I can also tell you there will be a wait, but you will be tagged as matches come up. And last but not least, we will definitely reach out to you when we are looking for panelists for awesome shows like this. So speaking of awesome shows, we have a great one for you today. So our topic is diversity in computer science. So we have two amazing panelists, one amazing moderator. So we're going to go ahead and go to introductions. So we'll start things off first with Stephanie. If you could please just tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are, where you're from, what you do.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Jacobs, and I am from South Carolina. I am an instructional technology coach. This coming year will be my second year, and I absolutely love that job. And you can find me on Twitter at Miss Class in Session.
Awesome. So great to have you back. So thank you so much for joining us, Stephanie. All right. Next up, we have Anjanette.
Hello, everybody. My name is Anjanette. I am hailing from sunny South Florida, specifically Broward County, Florida. I am a 25-year educator for Broward County Schools, Digital 5 classroom teacher, computer science professor, and part of Black Girls Code Miami chapter. So glad to be back.
Sweet. We are super excited to have you on. So thank you so much for joining us, Anjanette. And last and certainly not least, we have our amazing moderator, Kim. So if you could please introduce yourself and then take it away.
Hi, everyone. I am Kimberly Lane Clark. If you follow me on Twitter, you already know who I am. But you can follow me on Ask a Techno Girl. All things blended learning, computer science, ed tech, and of course, girl power. I am so for girl power and making sure women that are basically people of color, women of color that basically get included into all of our tech spaces. So I'm excited to moderate this panel. And so my first question that I want to kind of talk to you all about are, what are some things that you do in your classroom or school building to promote gender equity in the classroom?
Well, I'm going to chime in. One of the things, we're actually getting ready to go back August 15th. And so I literally have a digital slideshow of all of the resources that we use throughout the entire year, everything from Flipgrid, Canvas, Microsoft Office 365, code.org, Girls Who Code. We literally put together an open house package with our Digital 5 program. Broward County Schools is a very diverse county with over 150 languages, over 70 countries. And so one of the things right off the bat is we include, specifically, I include my girls to show past, I should say, bring in past students to show what presentations we've done to encourage the others to do that throughout this year and past years.
Oh, that's pretty good. So the presentations, you have your girls come in and basically just present to the newcomers that come in. I think that's an excellent idea, especially to get more girls involved. I think they want to see other people that kind of, look like them or what they're doing to get them involved with it. So I think that's pretty cool as well.
For me, I work in the elementary setting, and for the past 3 years, one initiative that has been on the forefront for me is doing Hour of Code. And I started out in year one just doing it in my classroom. And the past 2 years, I felt like that was not enough reach. So I started doing school-wide Hour of Code events. And I really enjoy just the great resources and having speakers and community members come in. And it gives the students a chance to be the teacher as they teach adults some of the things that they've learned or that they've been working on as far as coding is concerned.
So, and just to kind of piggyback off of there, I hear you all saying like you just basically put in initiatives that kind of broaden the aspect of including gender equity. But are there some problems that basically come into play in regards to bringing that gender equity into the classroom? Do you have any problems that you face? I know a lot of times that, the different cultures that are, in our school communities, they might not accept that. So what are some problems that you all, kind of have come across too as well?
One of the problems,
go ahead.
sorry, one of the problems that I found, which is why this topic was, really close to heart for me, was getting girls involved. And I started a computer science club last year and noticed that all of the participants were boys. And I wanted to do something for the girls. So I tried to launch a summer camp and had a lot of girls that signed up. And I think the timing had a lot to do with it, but the girls didn't show up. So I really want to find a way to really get the girls committed to, the computer science and what's happening, and knowing that this is something that is for them as well. It's not just something that.
So that's a really good strategy. And that's really sad that they didn't, but I think that the problem is that they really are not aware of it. And so that's a really good point that you bring, Stephanie, in regards to that too.
Stephanie, I'm in total agreement with what you were saying. My resistance came from parents at first. I have like I said, a very diverse classroom. I had a lot of fathers who initially were very combatant, why are you pushing my daughter? Why are you pushing my particular daughter? And I had a lot of girls. So I kind of slid in assignments where they had to show their fathers and moms what they were doing. This year we had the first ever Broward County Computer Science Fair. And I made it a point to put all girls on my team. Everywhere from India to the Middle East to South America and Central America. I made the entire tech team that represented my school, all girls, all diverse cultures. And who, of course, took their daughters to this event? All of the fathers that resisted me at first.
That's really good. Oh my God. That is good.
In addition to that, with the gender equity and the cultural diversity, I partnered with Girls Who Code, Latinas in Action, which is one of our partners in excellence at my school. A lot of their girls got involved, and something that has been near and dear to my heart, Black Girls Code. We have a chapter here in South Florida. So with the assistance, also SECME, noticed that there were mostly boys, and I encouraged my own daughter. I was like, you need to, do this. And so she was there were only 3 girls of color on the team. And I told her, you know what, it's a stepping stone. They will see you, and more girls coming up will be a part of it. But it's important that our girls are represented.
And Definitely. So it's funny. I kind of want to piggyback off of what you basically said, that it's important that our girls are represented. Why? Like, why is it important? I hear people ask me that a lot. Anytime I do a workshop or am I speaking or anything like that, they're always like, okay, why? Hey, I have all boys. Why can't my boys be involved? And I think that's kind of the misconception that we have is, that we're saying we want to exclude people when we're really not. So why is that important? Can y'all answer that kind of for me as well? I know it's kind of off, but I really want to, our viewers to hear that.
I think it's about access and opportunities and letting girls understand that they have different choices and different avenues for how they display their talents. And a lot of times when we think about careers, even talking about that in elementary school, if you ask students, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? You hear a lot of the same answers, and some of that is just because they may not know. And so having girls, specifically girls of color, get involved in these types of activities, it can open up the door for them to see what are some other possibilities for how I can use my talent. Let's say I want to be an actress or I want to be an athlete, and those things don't work out. Is there another avenue that I can take that will allow me to still use those same talents that I have in a different way or different industry?
Oh, that's a good answer. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And I'm glad you said careers. My daughter is going into the 5th grade. When she was a kindergartner, she wanted to be a police officer. Now she wants to be a computer science engineer. Why
I
did
wonder
that
why.
happen? Why did that happen? It happened because I exposed her to careers and her friends. And now my niece is even looking into, she doesn't want to be an engineer, but she wants to be a dentist. Well, she wants to use coding to do that. And so how did that come about? The exposure to different things such as code.org, Hour of Code, SecMe, Computer Science Day, all of these things. We have a really great STEM program in Broward County, and really all over South Florida. So little by little, the police officer changed, and now she definitely wants to be an engineer. And I told her, get your face out there, go to the conferences, go to the meetings, bring some friends with you. I'm always recruiting parents, and that's another thing. As moms, as educators, we've got to get more parents on board to see that there is gender equity. Looking at those students who show an interest, talk to their parents. Don't just talk about the negative stuff, whether it's their grades, find their niche and show them some of the projects that they're using coding and computer science to do that.
Oh my God. So that kind of answers what I was going to talk about next, was about the strategies. Like, so this is awesome. And so what are some strategies? I know people probably are out there like, okay, well, you said all this gender equity, we're doing all this, but you know, this community that I'm in is just not involved. Luckily, the community that I'm in, the district that I'm in, which is in Texas, Lancaster ISD. We're really, you know, really good on getting the community involved and focusing on computer science. But what are some strategies that some districts don't have, or people just don't know where to start? What are some strategies that you all can think of that we can kind of tell our listeners and our viewers?
One strategy that I use, being the instructional technology coach, it allows me to be able to push into classrooms. A lot of times when we do professional development or we do PLCs and I introduce technology related items, they may be things that the teacher is not comfortable with. And unfortunately, if the teacher in the classroom is not comfortable, then they probably aren't going to introduce it, or they're going to be very hesitant to introduce it and do a model lesson. And that gives all of the kids exposure. And one of the things that I really loved last year was that I did so many lessons. I actually, in addition to being, you know, the coach, I also handled some of the IT issues. So let's say I was coming in to fix a problem that the teacher had. I'd walk in and the students would get in, and I'm like, no, I'm not here to do a lesson today. But it was great just to see that enthusiasm and to see that they really wanted to have just that extra type of lesson that sometimes they may not get, you know, if that teacher just feels uncomfortable with that. So I think that just adds an extra layer of support. And sometimes we need that in the classroom. If I'm not comfortable doing it, who else can I pair up with or buddy up with that can help introduce that same information to my students?
I really like that strategy. Anything else anyone can think of a strategy on how to get computer science within our schools, within our communities? What's one strategy that you can think of that's just spot on, that teachers are like, this is just not one other thing that I have to do, but this is cool and this is important?
One of the things that we have at our school is called Parent University. A lot of school districts have parent nights where they invite parents. Of course, you'll get them in when you talk about testing. You'll get them in when you're talking about social emotional learning. But if you get them in for a STEM night, a coding night, and always bring food, that's always a draw.
That's always a plus.
That's a plus. This year we had several parent university nights, parent success events. And so we incorporated the coding, the STEM, where the kids are now sharing with their parents what they are doing in class, what they have learned with class, kind of like a think, pair, share activity. And so we had about 1,000 parents show up within a 3-day period.
Oh, wow.
We kept it
Nice.
third, fourth, and fifth. The primary grades, we just kind of introduced them to some of the software for kids that are primary. But for the intermediate grades, we actually had a full showcase where they were able to show their activities. And then I did an extension with Flipgrid where the student actually gets on their cell phone and they talk about what worked, what didn't work, what did they learn, and how they could teach somebody else. And like I said, over a 3-day period, we had over 1,000 parents that showed up back in May for this event. You've got to involve your parents. Key, you have to involve your administration. You won't go anywhere if your administration is not on board with what you want to do. So if you have a support, even if you don't have a supportive administration, lay out something that maybe they can practice. And then once they get comfortable, then your programs will run very smoothly.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. I totally agree about kind of getting the administrator on board. Sometimes the administrators, they're kind of hesitant, because, hey, we're all about making sure our students are college and career ready. We're all making sure our kids are state, ready for their tests and things like that. But if you're having that model and getting the parents, because basically the parents are running our schools, and the mindsets of, hey, they're going to advocate for what they need. So that's a really good strategy that we can think of, is getting the parents involved, being able to have, so the community knows what you're doing. Hey, our kids are just not playing on games. They're actually learning a skill that they're going to be able to develop, in the 21st century, which is already here. So those are some awesome strategies. While we're talking about strategies, so we're saying these, but what about some resources? What are some resources that we can use to say, okay, how do we use these? How do we have a parent night? What are some things that we can use to have this parent night? What if we had, if we think of some of our listeners, some of our viewers that are basically saying, okay, well, I don't know where to start. If I have a parent night, if I bring this in the classroom, as Stephanie said, if I do a model, what are the resources? Where do I start? So can you all kind of give me some resources in regards to that as well?
For me, I like using the CS Google curriculum. That has been huge for me starting out with students. I like that it's self-paced and it gives the students to kind of watch a video, learn a technique, and then put it into action using Scratch. And when my students work with that, I would show them a quick example. And typically as a teacher, I hate doing that, because when you show the teacher example, you end up getting 20 copies of your example. But with CS Google, I didn't get that. When the students saw what my example was, it kind of just said, hey, this is what you'll be working on today. And they each truly individualized it and made it their own. And I just stress to teachers that it's a curriculum that is already set. The materials are already there. They're digital. If you need the paper copies, they'll ship it to you for free, and it comes very quickly. So I really think for me, that was a really great resource, especially if you're just getting started and not too familiar with computer science or coding.
Oh yeah, I love Google CS first. Oh my goodness. Like if you don't know about it, all you need to do is like literally Google CS first and it pops up. That is a really good strategy and a really good resource to start out with at the very first beginning. Any more that we want to kind of because we're almost kind of at the end, which is like crazy because our time is like gone by, but I want to hear some more resources.
I just posted, of course, code.org, Scratch,
oh, yes.
MIT app, Khan Academy, and it's free. One of the things, if you ever apply for Sphero, which is a miniature robot, you can teach programming along with other science standards, just to name a few. So I just posted those up on the chat now.
Okay, cool beans. I love Spiros as well. Autobots. I think recently we've been getting into kind of, physical computing. And so physical computing is another way that you can kind of get your students involved and you don't have to shut down your classroom. That's the main complaint that I hear from teachers is that, hey, I have to shut down my classroom for this. But you really don't. All of these things that you all are named, you can add it as a station. You can basically do it as a blended learning approach, which is really good in a classroom. You can really do those things as well. So I think those resources are absolutely amazing. And just to get a start, you just have to basically want to do it and just begin. Like, just don't procrastinate, just begin. And the main focus is bridging that digital, that gender gap that we have. And I think we'll be able to prosper.
I also want to add WordPress. Cannot forget WordPress, which is a software, website, but it incorporates a lot of coding. And the best part, all of it's free. You can't go wrong with free.
Yes.
Yes, free is my favorite word. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'm all about free.
Yeah. All about that free life. Absolutely. I want to thank you, ladies. This was such an amazing discussion. So many resources, so much great insight shared. So thank you so much to our fantastic panelists, Anjanette and Stephanie, and our fantastic moderator, Kim. So pleasure to have all of you on. I have a couple more shout outs as well. So while we're shouting out Kim, check out her chapter in EduSnap 17, Where My Girls At, which is all about increasing gender diversity in computer science. Also, speaking of EduSnap 17, I couldn't say that without mentioning also Stephanie's chapter about blogging. Awesome. And Jeanette, hopefully we have you at EduSnap 18. We love a chapter for you there. Yes, absolutely. So also speaking of authors, then a resource I would like to throw out there is a book written by Tara Linney called Code Equity. So definitely checking that out. Yep, absolutely. So shout out to Tara for that. And speaking of more authors, some of our EduMatch authors that I'd like to shout out are Mandy Freilich for The Fire Within, great book on trauma and overcoming trauma and using resilience. Journey to the Y and U by Dean Gainey, about finding out what drives us to do what we do and who's counting on us to bring our best selves to the table. The Teacher's Journey by Brian Costello, so talking about the hero's journey, but putting it through a lens of educators just to see exactly, the journeys that we all take and how we can help each other along the way. In addition, some upcoming publications. We have Alyssa Frazier with Daddy's Favorites, so that will be coming out soon, very, very soon. And also, Dr. Sam Fetchich will be dropping EduMagic in the making for pre-service teachers. So check that out on August 29th. So you'll hear more about that as time goes on. So let me see a couple of things. One thing I want to show you all, there was a question last week about our badges. So let me actually share my screen really quickly with y'all. Ooh, if I can share it. Okay, there we go. Ooh, Vortex. Okay, so to get to our badge list, this is our extended learning challenge. So you can find all of our badges, on our badge list page. So badgelist.com/EduMatch. If you want to find the ones for today, you just click on this diversity and CS hashtag. And you'll see that we have 4 of them, 2 of them that are going to be given to our wonderful moderator and panelists, but 2 that anyone who's watching can earn. So we have our tweets, so our mild one. So if you share 3 tweets from the episode, you will earn this mild badge. So 3 tweets that you tweeted out about this episode. You could have live tweeted it, watched it later, and then tweeted it, and you'll have your mild badge. Now, in terms of the medium badge, this is the change. So you'll see here that we no longer have the requirement to post a link to your Flipgrid. And in addition, there is a password because all Flipgrid grids are locked. So the password is EduMatch. So just go ahead and if you want this badge, then just click that you're a badge learner. You want to subscribe to the badge, join the badge, and then we will go in and look. We have it here, so anyone can do this, even our wonderful people on camera right now. But we just put in our password EduMatch, and you'll see here that you can respond to any of tonight's questions and earn a badge there. So just wanted to clarify that. Oops. Okay, here we go. Stop sharing. There we go. So just wanted to clarify the new process since Flipgrid has updated. So that's about it. Just wanted to also thank Leslie for being on our YouTube live page, interacting with us, as well as everyone who is tweeting along with us. There were some great comments still going on. So huge shout out to everyone tweeting with us. So thank you, everyone. Join us in 2 weeks, not next week, but the following week. We have a discussion about using images to teach. So looking for panelists for that, sign up at podcast.edumatch.org/sign up. And that's going to be next Sunday. No, Sunday after next, same bat time, same bat channel. So thank you so much, everyone, and have a great 2 weeks. Oh, wait. One more thing. I almost forgot. I would have kicked myself so hard if I had forgotten this. I just got to share it one more time. Okay, screen share. So EdCamp, edumatch.org. So this is going to happen before we see each other again. So go to EdCamp EduMatch, and you just want to sign up here. This will be on August 4th. We're going to do this from 11 to 1 Eastern. So just sign up with your email, your name, Voxer, Twitter, where you're from. We have some information there for face-to-face meetups. Just so y'all know, you can feel free to do that if you want to, but if not, you can feel free to join us virtually. So that is all of the announcements. I'm done talking. Everybody have a great couple weeks, and we will see you next Sunday after next. So August 5th. So August 4th for EdCamp EduMatch, August 5th for EduMatch Tweet and Talk. So have a great evening, everyone.